Deltarune Chapters 3 and 4 have finally been given a proper release date, set to come out on June the 5th. With this release date getting closer every minute, I want to take this time to talk about something very mysterious, because I don't think the majority of Deltarune fans are aware of it, even though it could end up being super important. Since Deltarune is still just a free demo, anyone with a computer should be able to download it off of Steam and get access to the files. If you have it, you can follow along if you like. On the Deltarune page, click the gear on the right, then hover over Manage and click Browse Local Files. From here, you can really inspect most anything if you feel like it, but for what I want to show you, go ahead and double click on the Muse file. Scroll all the way to the bottom to find one of the subjects of today's video, W.ogg. I am now going to play the 5-second sound. Okay, so that's just wind, so W is probably just short for wind in the file name, right? You would be valid for thinking that, but you are in fact wrong. Probably. You see, right after W.ogg are wind.ogg and wind_highplace.ogg. Wind_highplace is the wind sound that plays at the top of Queen's Mansion, and wind.ogg seems to be a slowed down, pitched up version of W.ogg. Regardless, wouldn't it make more sense to call W.ogg something that fits the naming scheme, like wind_fast, or call W wind and call wind slow? This sounds nonsensical, hopefully I can make it make sense when I'm editing. Also, at the time Chapter 1 released, this was the only file that was only one letter long, which makes it stand out more than if this was just something Toby did regularly, which he didn't do in Undertale either. One noteworthy thing about this sound effect is that it's used in the opening sequence with Gaster. I didn't believe it at first either, but if you listen, you can definitely make it out. Here's the wind one more time. And here's the Goner Maker. However, until Chapter 2 released, we wouldn't know what this meant or why it was relevant. And then, Chapter 2 released, and we got the only other file in a Toby Fox game to be only one letter long. D.ogg. Before I play it, I should note that it is exactly 1 second longer than W.ogg. Like, down to the millisecond, exactly 1 second shorter. So here it is. If you've somehow never heard this, it's the loop that plays in the Snowgrave route when Noelle tells Berdly to run away during your final encounter. Also, something very interesting that this song does is it plays its motif for a couple of measures, and then it plays the exact same motif but pitched down. We have seen this done a couple other notable times, such as and some food for thought. Anyways, I've seen it suggested that the D is short for dramatic, which I guess I can see, but again, it just doesn't fit with the typical format Toby uses to name his files, except for, of course, W. Is it possible that Toby is trying to spell out some word with these one-letter files? Well, of course not. I checked my dictionary and there's no word that starts with W where the second letter is D. But wait, what if we aren't going for a word, but a name? It's Gaster. I'm trying to say that the files are spelling out Gaster, whose full name is confirmed in Undertale to be W.D. Gaster. Obviously, W and D stand for something else, probably wingdings, but the point is this is how he likes to be formally addressed, Dr. W.D. Gaster. But wait, 2 questions. First, why would the files be spelling Gaster's name out? Excellent question, nameless viewer. Based on the tweets made by Gaster prior to both chapter releases so far, we can gauge that his role in this story is as some sort of puppet master running an experiment he refers to as Deltarune, and it's possible that, in a meta sense, Gaster is the person who created the game, and therefore is the one spelling out his own name in the files as a fun little Easter egg or reward for curious players exploring the files, similarly to how he also hides in secret rooms in the game to give players an egg as a reward for exploring the rooms. Or Toby Fox just thinks it's funny to watch us lose our collective marbles at the seemingly random patter of spelling out Gaster's name. That was the first question. Now here's the second. If files are really spelling Gaster's name with each chapter being a new letter, how come there are only 7 chapters when W.D. Gaster is 8 letters long? That's a very good question. Here are the 3 most likely possibilities. Number 1. One of the files will be 2 letters long, allowing us to be finished by chapter 7. Here's a spreadsheet of all the possible combinations remaining. My favorites are Georgia.ogg and .ogg. 2. One chapter will just have 2 one-letter files. Pretty self-explanatory, but a little boring, so let's take a look at the wacky theory with all the leaps and out there ideas you've come to love. 3. There will be a secret 8th chapter. Picture this. The roaring doesn't happen until the end of chapter 7, and everyone is like, what? That's the end? And then, boom. Secret chapter 8 where you can save the world and seal the angels' heaven. Now the first 2 files have had some relation to their letter, with there being a likely answer for what their individual letter could stand for, and while I'm not certain on the other ones, I can predict right now that the final one, R.ogg, will be short for roaring. Or not, I don't know. Now by June 5th, we'll definitively know if this is really something to keep an eye on, or if it was just us going crazy after 4 years. Now, the first time, that flew under our radar. The second time, it might be a coincidence, but if we get a 3rd and 4th time, oh yeah, it's game over. So here's what we all need to do on June 5th, or whenever it works for you, I guess. If you are planning on buying Deltarune for the price of $25, can we talk about how much of a steal that is, by the way? And you get the last 3 chapters for free, too? Anyways, if you're planning on buying the game, and you do, then check the files to see if there is in fact a G.ogg and an A.ogg and potentially an S.ogg. Obviously, if you want to avoid spoilers, then wait till you finish both chapters to check, but still check because more people need to be informed about this, especially if it does end up coming true. Having said that, that's all for this video. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. I hope you're all looking forward to Deltarune chapters 3 and 4 as much as I am, and if there are any other anomalies you guys can find in the files, then bring them to my attention in the comment section of this video, and maybe I'll make a video about them. See you guys on June 5th.